Welcome back, Overwatch League fans. My name is George, joined by Hex once again, and we are heading into week number 2 of the Summer Showdown qualifiers. We've got Shock facing up against the Paris Eternal first up.
You really couldn't ask for a better match. Like, if it was preseason, if it was a show match, if it was an exhibition, I would watch this match. These are two of the better teams that we have. Of course, we are in the Summer Showdown kind of format. Everyone loved the Melee, so we're like, hey, why don't we just do that again? We'll call it something different, but we need the alliteration still. So Summer Showdown, a lot of money on the line, but more importantly, at the end of this, after the qualifiers, teams are going to get extra wins and can really bolster your place in the seedings. Although these two teams don't necessarily need it, it's always nice to be able to pull away from the competition. Let's take a look at the standings that we have thus far. It's only been a week or so, not really put stock in this, but all the teams you expect to have won pretty much have won thus far, Jaws.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Philly sitting up at the top. I think they're looking for a little bit of redemption going into the Summer Showdown. Of course, we'll see Philly tomorrow, first game of the day, facing up against Boston. We'll have to see how that ends up going down. Boston looking pretty good, but back to the present Hex. Shock versus the Paris Eternal. Shock, how do they keep doing it, Hex? How do they keep getting away with this? It's like you're playing Scrabble with them, and they have every single vowel from the Scrabble bag on their side. Like, it's actually not fair, like you just said. They picked up Twilight, of all people, to add it to their stacked roster. Now they've got a support for every single occasion or every single situation that they need.
Yeah, it's like they were able to put down Quiz in a triple word score. It's just ridiculous how this team just keeps getting better. A team that just recently lost Architect, one of the better players that we have in the league, just adds in Twilight. And God, that support line is just looking nasty right now. It's at a point now where you can run Violet and Twilight. Moth is one of the best and most consistent supports we have in the league, at least top 3. You can run the Mercy and the Lucio. This team is just ridiculous, but Twilight was such a talent. We knew that he wasn't going to be without team for long. Of course, former Vancouver Titan from last season, but probably going to come in and be the Ana specialist. But the rest of this team, beyond the support line, is still ridiculous. We have a treat for you in the damage dealers today. It's going to be Ons and Striker, very likely going to be an Ashe, Widow, and a Tracer combination. Striker's Tracer, the Thing of Legends, almost won him MVP in Season 1. Smurf and Choyhobin will be the consistent tank line that you've got, and the aforementioned Violet and Twilight. Violet, I guess, if you want to ship it. They're going to be your support line.
I like that. Yeah, we're going to call it Violet from now on. I mean, this looks like it's going to be maybe a little bit of Dive, hopefully a little bit of Arns or Widowmaker. But another person that was rather hyped up coming into the Overwatch League, Super, has a few choice words to say about Sparkle. His hype debut, of course, last week did shock and awe a lot of people.
Well, I mean, I guess Sparkle did have his debut last week against Boston. Looked pretty good. They still went to map 5 against Boston, though. I'm going to say that's because it was his first game, so maybe there was some disconnect, some nervousness. And then I'm also going to say that they were missing Eggsy, which is pretty important for them. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be all right.
Well, thank you very much, Super. It looks like you couldn't even get on and sit on your chair to do that. Just relaxing and chilling in bed. Surprise, surprise. Lackadaisical as always. And Sparkle, like I said before, he had a pretty impressive debut. It was against Boston. It did go a little bit further than I think a lot of people expected it to. But his Genji did wow people. And with the Genji buff, not currently on the Overwatch League patch, it's on live currently. It's looking pretty good for the Paris Eternal when they want Sparkle to play that hero. It's been a bit more of a DLC hero, it feels like at times, Hex, as of recently, I'm going to be honest, because Genji he has felt like rather old Overwatch, a bit a relic of his time, but seeing Genji being played by someone like Sparkle still shows that there is life in him, and hopefully this buff, when it makes it to Overwatch League, hey, we're going to see a lot more of it, or at least I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, the Dragon Blade kills are really what stands out to me, and I think it's always important. When I think of, how to finish out an assault map, which can be really difficult at times, I'm like, just get a Genji, Nano Blade that, and then you get 4 kills, and that just lets you roll over. I do want to see him mostly on the Genji today. I think his Mei left a little something to be desired. I don't want to see him on Mei because I think he's such a great talent, and, I mean, for a myriad of reasons, I don't want to see him on Mei. But watching Sparkle, and now we've got Exy in the lineup, too. We're going back to maybe, a Genji Tracer. Both can play Soldier 76, although he can only have one on the field, tragically enough. But Sparkle's Genji debut, I think he lived up to the hype so far, and maybe starting to toss his name. The paper's in the air, throwing his name into the hat of Rookie of the Year. It's a crowded
My
hat.
heart flutters a little bit, to be honest with you, when I see this lineup from Paris today. Exi and Spark, of course, in the DPS. And we definitely will see some dive. It's got to be. Please no May. Sparkle, please bring out the Doomfist. Maybe put Exi on the Tracer. Although his careers also looked pretty damn fire. We are going to Busan for our first control map of the day, and then jumping over to Gibraltar. I think Busan in general, I have a love and hate relationship with Mecha Base. I'm going to be honest. Like,
I was going to say, which
see
is the stage that brings out the hate? Because I like a lot of Busan.
I like Busan as well, but Mecha Base, I just want to see some more open maps so we can see dive and flanks.
Yeah.
Like that's my forte at least, just killing the Tracers on the flank as Zen. I just want Zen to get buffed is what I'm saying. It's my weekly message of please buff Zen. I want him to be playable, or at least let me play him in ranked and don't flame me. Thank you very much. Let's go on to Busan though. First map of the day. Shock versus the Eternal. It's good to see Exi back in the roster. And it was my weekly session of, well, as how much Korean I can understand in the lobby chat as well. I just said a little bit of it. My Korean is getting better slowly but surely. FD God was a little bit lost, but he's going to be okay on the Lucio role, of course. He's definitely one of your favorite players to watch, at least, the Reddit Lucio.
Yeah, I mean, I like watching him. I don't like playing with people who play like him, but he's really entertaining to watch. I mean, yeah, this Paris squad is just stacked all the way through. You think about Fielder, who just came in his debut and had one of the most outstanding support plays on the Ana, even though he was playing with like 150-something ping at 4 a.m., which sounds ridiculous to me. But luckily for you, we're not going to Mecha Base. The interesting thing about Control is they all kind of have that one outlier map, that there's two stages that feel very similar, and then there's like that other one. But we are going to be starting here on Busan. Sparkle on the Genji is what everyone wants to see. Rollouts with the Symmetra, we'll see what they switch to. Exi will be going on to the McCree. So McCree versus Tracer, Genji versus Ashe. Let's get it. A little Roadhog on the field too.
Yeah, I actually really like this comp coming out from Shock. It's really kind of inhibiting Spark, or at least not so much for the time being. Striker does manage to punish No Smite, who was in the background of that engagement. Striker actually picking up both tanks, even. Okay, kind of solo carrying this first fight. Sparkle finds a float. Oh! Okay, we've just started the game, Striker. I know you killed 3. Teabagging Sparkle already feels pretty good, man.
I mean, this is the Striker of old. If you're new to the Overwatch League and you don't remember Season 1, Boston Striker, he was just crushing this team, like carrying his squad. He was definitely in the MVP talks. Of course, Boston fell off a little bit, but this is the Striker of old. A lot of people, the pros in the know, think that Striker might very well be the best Tracer in the league.
Yeah, I mean, now he's going to have to go up against Sparkle's Tracer. I wouldn't say one of his strongest heroes. Definitely better on the Doomfist and the Genji, that is for sure. FD God does go down fairly early to a hook from Choi, but they do manage to take out Smurf. A nice pulse bomb will finish off Humbin though, and this should be all over for the Eternal. They're going to have to go once more. This backline for Shock as well is going to be pretty immortal, I will say that, Hex. With Twilight on the Baptiste, is going to help Violet survive these dives coming through from the Eternal. They're still holding on to the point, of course, now taking up to 50% without them letting go of a single percent.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for Sparkle to get a whole lot done. I mean, especially with the Roadhog, too. You got to be avoiding the hooks and everything like that. Paris is going to have to come in and maybe start using some ultimates, but their tanks have really not done enough to get their ultimate charges up here. Maybe a Nano comes in, an Electric Cowboy, perhaps.
No Electric Cowboy, but he does manage to take out Args. Now they are finally moving their way onto the point, but Exi needs help. Nano onto Sparkle. Can he find a way in? He has got Pulse Bomb in the back, and he does spot the Roadhog from a million miles away. Doesn't manage to get in, but Twilight! What was that? Through the window. Instant kill. Just taking Sparkle's head clean off. Twilight, in fact, picking up another one in Exi. A support killing both DPS. Let's be real, though. Hex Baptiste, basically a better soldier at this point. 90% on the board for the Shock. Eternal, I'm not sure they're going to be able to get back in time, or at least not in full force. Another one down. He's got damage boost from the Supercharger as well. OT will be triggered by Sparkle, and he still has the Pulse Bomb in his back pocket, but they're running into a wealth of ultimates. A halt was all that they needed to stop No Smite from getting on in. Even the Bob was laid out as well. What a crushing start for the Shock. That is looking so good, so clean. There was nothing Paris could even do to the backline to try and inhibit them, because Twilight was carrying from there. Immortality fields on the Zen. Windows coming up every 30 seconds, it felt like. Sparkle just couldn't find a way in.
I mean, when we saw that Twilight was going to be added to this roster, a lot of us just said, like, oh, like an Ana specialist, that'll be great, you know? But
look at this.
You think about what this allows them to do. Now you can run Zen and BAP at the highest levels, and that's, I mean, is it even a support, or is it just another couple DPS at that point in time? San Francisco breaking the 2-2-2 mold of just letting Violet and Twilight go nuts.
Twilight killed 4 in that fight. Hex. A little more than you'd expect it
Window's
to,
pretty
but
good.
there it is.
Now Sparkle's going to take to the skies now.
He's running into Arns, which is going to be a little bit of a problem. But Arns hasn't got the damage boost, so Sparkle's going to have the edge in that front. I want to see if Violet or Twilight do end up switching. I mean, if I were them, I definitely wouldn't if you just hunker down on the point with the Hog, although Smurf taking a little bit too much damage. Already used the shields, but taking the 1v1 as no smite, instantly taken out by Striker. Who actually gets finished off by Hartman there in the end. So now Paris Eternal with the man advantage. They're going to be on the point and finding their first cap of the series.
It's a really important first capture for Paris, because you definitely want to be in control as the Pharah in the sky, because now you get to take this angle and just getting all of the entry damage, all the splash damage trying to work up, and the rest of his team just completely cleans that up. I wouldn't be stunned to see San Francisco maybe make a switch. Maybe Striker on McCree makes a little bit of sense. Maybe even moving over to a Widow to try to get that one-shot capability. But you need a Discord on this combo to try to get any work done as the Ashe.
Choi staying at the sun. Doesn't want to get burned though. Tries to get the hook, but that's going to be about it. FD God now flying up in the sky. He's got a Discord on him, and he does actually just die. Filter not being really able to heal FD God up in the sky unless he hits some nasty right clicks. Sparkle unleashes the barrage and kills Choi, but he is punished for his sins. Shock is going to find the recap eventually, but not after Paris Eternal do manage to find at least 44%. Not a bad start at all.
FD God going down there was actually probably a result of Choi Hyobin hitting one of those sweet spot right clicks on the Hog. It forced the Mercy to fly back into a corridor, and that just lets the Dynamite ricochet in. They're able to take that down. Sparkle then feels pressure to use the Barrage, but Barrage, especially without a Mercy or without a bubble or anything, is kind of a press Q to die button.
Oh, Lance is so good at clicking heads. Out of all the shots, I think he hit one body shot out of all those shots coming through. Most of them were headshots. Immortality field used fairly early. He's got the window right in front of him, but no one from the Shock is going in LOS. That's a good way to counter the window. Those mines on top of there forces Xe down. He throws out the Bob, but another Bob coming through from the Shock, landing on the point. No Smite is finished off in Primal Rage. He's just burnt through. Not too many people you can really go for with that Primal Rage. Feels like more of a survival tool than anything else. FD God and Xe are going to go for the swift reset. They got a couple more fights in them though.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to have to be a reset there as they come down. San Francisco ended up committing a whole lot to that one, but not a ton of ultimates on the field. No Smite's going to get to Primal, but Violet is going to have a Transcendence. They really need to force out the Transcendence from Violet if Paris wants to be able to get in here, but so far, not switching off of this Pharah might be a mistake. Almost pays for it, but nice positioning to get back there.
So split right now, Hex. That's my main worry. Xe is going to take out Arns. Beautiful hook from Troy. That's what he's looking for. Couldn't quite finish him off, but the right click will do it. Only just surviving the incoming damage from Sparkle. Tried to get a little bit of revenge, but couldn't quite find it. At Transcendence as well, helping out with all the heals. Shock now in one fight territory before they take the map. Smurf is just being a nuisance is what he's doing. Pushing people down from the high ground. The mines have landed on the point, but everybody's just falling left, right, and center. FD God couldn't quite get back to Sparkle in time before Striker could finish him off. And Xe jumps into the train, unfortunately. They do manage to flip the point, Hex, but still, the Shock are in firm control. A beautiful bubble is going to save FD God from the res, and No Smite finds 2.
Yeah, that was close, and now Paris can get right back into this one. They're going to have a barrage in their pockets to work with, but there's mines on the points.
Well,
long distance barrage.
Yeah, that was, I don't think that was actually supposed to get Arns. It felt like, it definitely felt like Sparkle was pocketed a little bit much there. Right, Arns switching back over from the Widowmaker. Just wanted to find that one pick to end the game, but now Paris Eternal are in one fight territory. 80% on the board. Stick onto the back of No Smite. Resurrection is available from FD God, but can he actually get to it? Looks like they are just camping his body like they should do. Xe's Bob does end up going down as Arns finds another. Sparkle falling. That's a lot of damage now. Lot of damage now just being waylaid by the Shock. Another hook onto Exy. Now they've got no damage dealers left. They're going to have to wait for the respawns. 98%. The flip is coming through from the Shock as they are now 90%, only 10% away from winning. Sparkle back onto the Doomfist to try and get the touch.
It's going to be very difficult for Paris to get back in here because we don't see a whole lot of Hog, but Roadhog's whole Hog is so good at cleaning up these points, pushing people off of it, being a positional thing.
Arnvin's already dead. Zans jumps over to the Soldier to try and get back in time, as well as Sparkle falling to the Trace. This is going to be it. There it is. Shock 2-0. Clean sweeping Paris Eternal on Busan. A little bit closer on the second round. 100-0, of course, on the first. But my word, I mean, Sparkle switching over to the Pharah. I have so many questions about that, why he stayed for so long. It felt like Arns had his number, and FD God wasn't able to get a lot of support in the area as well from Fielder, who was on the Baptiste more often than not. Twilight solo carrying as well. I mean, it was the play of the game after all.
Beyond that, it's nice to see Hog back in the meta. We saw Krong play a little bit of it last night in the one game I was able to stay up and watch, but he can be really good. And I think Choi Hyobin actually shut down that Mercy a couple of different times. And Farrah without a Mercy, peanut butter without jelly is not quite as tasty, not quite as good. So able to get the hook one time, able to hit those sweet shot right clicks. I mean, I like this new meta and seeing Hog back into it. And then once you have the whole Hog, there's almost no way the team can contest the point because such area control, you're going to get knocked away, knocked off. So nice play through and through. And Twilight on San Francisco Shock, again, it's just unfair. It's unfair.
It does feel like a bit of a rough map to play Genji on as well, because Genji can't really get to the high ground easily without being spotted out. A lot of open air for the Ashe to kind of rain death from above with the dynamites and just like shooting people in the face. It's rather tough. But we're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Do not go anywhere. Map number 2 is going to be Gibraltar, coming up soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. And by Zip Chair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. If you've only just joined us, we are having a Shock playoff against the Paris Eternal. 1-0 for Shock right now. And Hex, they have a dominant roster, and they've also got quite a dominant record as well. If they beat the Paris Eternal and clean sweep them, they have swept every single team in the league 4-0 at some point in time.
Well, I mean, this is always a team that you always knew if they went up 3-0 when we had to play all 4 maps in the last couple of seasons, when we had to be like, oh, every map matters. You know, it was kind of not true all the time. But you always expected Shock of like, okay, it's fine. At least it's Shock. They'll get done with it quickly. They don't mess around. They don't throw map 4. They don't change up their roster. They were always such a dominant team like that if they went up 3-0, you could always assume they were just going to knock out map 4 really quickly. Of course, we don't have to do that anymore. But to beat every other team in the league in a sweep, what a symbol of absolute dominance.
Yeah, let's have a look what Moth has to say, and actually what that means for them as a team as a whole.
It'd be really cool to be the first team to sweep all the teams in the league. I think for us, that's just another way that shows that Shock is the most dominant team in Overwatch.
I want them to have like a little plaque or something at some point, maybe make their own little custom one of, we've swept every team, we are the most dominant team in Overwatch League history at this point.
Here's what you do, you send every other team a broom. I mean, that's the symbol. You just have a San Francisco Shock labeled broom. Actually, I'm going to talk to ownership. You guys can have that idea for free. Just send it out to every team or just make a tweet, something. I'd buy a San Francisco Shock broom. But like that's how you really establish the dominance. Yes, we beat you here, but here's the real-life representation of us sweeping you. Just get 19 brooms, send them all out. I think that's what you do if you're San Francisco.
It's like next-level merch. We're bored of selling jerseys, guys. We're bored of selling, like, T-shirts or whatever. We're actually just going to home appliances now. We're going to have coffee makers. We're going to have brooms. We're going to have, door stops. Hey, man, I mean, fill your home with the Shock merch if that's what they truly want. I mean, at this point, like I said, they're cementing themselves as the most dominant team in Overwatch League history. Right, we're gonna go on to Gibraltar next for our next map, and hex Gibraltar is gonna be dive. There is no subs coming in. I mean, I think Shock just stay with what they've been doing. I mean, Spark was not really being able to do all of anything. Normally, what the dive component of your roster has to do if he's playing Genji or Doomfist is distract the backline, maybe pick one off on a Tracer, but he's unable to do that. Not only because Violet is almost immortal on the Zen, just being Violet, but also Twilight on the Baptiste has just been an absolute Twilight on the Zen and then Violet on the Baptiste. No, Twilight on the Baptiste and Violet and Zen. I'm getting myself confused now.
Well, I mean, Violet is one of the best Baptistes in the world. That's how embarrassing that San Francisco's roster is, that it's ridiculous. Violet is also probably the best Zen on the roster, so I think you would make that switch right there. But, since dive is just now becoming prevalent, we haven't really seen how it quite works in its entirety with a Baptiste. But I think, any long-range healing, as long as you can hit those shots, and we've seen that Violet can definitely hit air shots on the Baptiste when he needs to do the healing of it. But I'm sure Twilight is more than capable of it as well. So yeah, you can definitely run a dive with a Bap Zen. Zen, of course, Discord is really important to just isolate down the targets. It's kind of just chase the purple balloon, and when that guy dies, find another target. Be really interesting to see what they want to run. Early on, maybe sometimes try to go for a halt and hook. That's almost always the cheeky rollout you see here from San Francisco. And Paris on the defense. Sparkle is on the Genji. Something to note.
Are they just going to... Okay, they're not going to switch off. Shoya Open did end up jumping down. Sparkle is on Genji. Oh, look at that damage already. You've got to be careful. XE has a damage boost, and he has Dynamite. Does a lot of damage. But Arndt should be able to win the ranged duel here. It depends actually where Arndt wants to sit, because you can see Snow Smite just kind of creeping around on the high ground, waiting for that grapple sound. I've just heard it myself. And there you go. He's down to the back line. He's getting chunked on out, and he might just go down. Yes, he does. No Smite. Perfect positioning from his Winston. And because at the end of the day, Hunbin's going to be more than safe in the front line. Although I say that, actually, Striker ends up returning the favor and killing off No Smite.
Yeah, despite the lore of Tracer and Winston being best friends, Tracer can absolutely chunk down a Winston and just get inside in the giant head hitbox, and it's actually pretty easy to do. Tank's now down for Paris. No Smite should be joining them shortly, but they're just getting pushed back.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way really you can do it now, especially with Sparkle going down, Fielder to match too. This is just a roll by the Shock on first point. Nothing they can do. It's pretty hard though, to be fair, when you think about it. Shock have, what? Immortality Field plus Stealth Peel on Hog plus Shift for Smurf as well. Like, you can't do anything against that if you're Sparkle. You're kind of diving in and you're really just hoping for the blade, and that's it. Sparkle then gets killed off the respawn too, and Fielder just takes a bullet to the dome. Luckily, they managed to get him back up in time. That was a very ambitious It's on there from Striker, but I mean, it forces them back even more.
It's just brutal because Hanbin gets those late spawns, and Gibraltar's a map that just kills people, just based on the spawn timings. So Hanbin goes down, and then they're able to clean up another couple, and the first fight, when you get into second point, is so important. Shuttle control is the most important thing on Gibraltar second, and Shock in full control of the launch pad.
I mean, Choi is up there, of all people. You'd expect to be just chilling around where the Orisa is, but he's like, nah, I'm just going to protect my team from the dives. I mean, it's perfect. You have just one person sitting on the payload. Here's Smurf, who's going to be more than safe. Novespy eventually gets his ult online, has to pop it fairly early. Bob's going to come out as well to join the party, but Choi have been refusing to move on the high ground. That's a halt. Well, not a halt. It's a hook, though. And there's going to be Strike on the back line, too, just helping finish off the kill onto Exi. Can't really do all too much. FD God at least manages to get the resurrection off, but Choi is right in his face once again. Does get punished for it, but hey, doesn't matter. We distracted you for long enough that we've just capped 5 minutes and 30 seconds Hex in the time bank. This is not looking good for the Eternal.
No, only 2 eliminations right now for the Paris Eternal, and you saw them both so far. Right now, Choi is just playing the Roadhog where you're hitting that sweet spot secondary fire, and that's the most satisfying thing. Hooks are great and all, but just hitting the sweet spot secondary where you just know it chunked. It's like when you, I mean, not everyone can relate it, but you hit a golf ball well and you just know it right away. That's what that secondary fire feels like.
This Genji Blade right now has to turn the tides of war, but with him going down like that, maybe it won't. I feel like I'm just jinxing them, Hex. Pure caster curse. Immortality Field is going to save them from the flux. There goes FD God's head. A nice little stick as well onto Exi. Are they going to stop? I don't think so. There's the window. They're going to be able to stall for a little bit of time. There's the pool noodle of a blade. Sparkle dies. Fielder also falls, and I think this is it, Hex. A complete roll by the Shock. 4 minutes and 29 seconds in the time bank. If they're even granted another round.
Jeez. I mean,
like, what can you say? You can't say anything, X.
I always talk about Anubis second point as one of the best spots to put a long-range hit scan up on like that high ground there. But Gibraltar is right there with it. Like, that's the Widow checkmate spot. You really, really want to be in the back there. You can go back bridge, you can go middle bridge, and yeah, I was just waiting for confirmation from our production. That is the new fastest offense on the map of Gibraltar by 10 seconds. The San Francisco Shock absolutely rolled. Look, 2 deaths. Like, Ans got jumped on early, and it was a nice play by No Smite, listening to audio cues, and then Cho Hyobin just went really, really deep, but it got him second point. Those are the only 2 deaths. Those are the only 2 deaths that the San Francisco Shock suffered, and both were not without their purpose. If you're Paris, you got to be reeling right now. Everyone thought this was going to be a battle of the Titans, but this is when San Francisco shows up big. And I think, knowing the San Francisco Shock the way I do in the last couple of years, they want this record of sweeping every team.
It looks like it's going to be that way, Hex. A 4-0 right here, right now. I mean,
3-0, luckily.
Make the broom... 3-0, clean sweeps, yeah.
Make the broom, yeah.
4-0 previously, yes, of course. But we might as well just start manufacturing the brooms as we speak. I mean, this is ridiculous. New fastest time. Paris Eternal. Honestly, I thought this was going to be the God Squad. Exi and Sparkle in the roster.
This was the Paris that was
unstoppable on paper.
This is the Paris that was promised. Like, this is what everyone wanted to see. Looking forward to it. But I mean, when we got the schedule, I sent you a message. I was like, dude, this is gonna be dope. What a great matchup.
Yeah.
And so far, San Francisco. Look, a lot of teams play down to the competition. San Francisco likes beating the crap out of the best teams in the league. It's a point of pride for them.
Exi's getting chunked. We'll see how they do on the offense. Oh, Sparkle's just not having a good day, man. This is. But you are coming against Arns, to be fair. Probably one of the sickest aimers that we have, along with people like KSP. My word.
Sparkle's,
please don't hold them at the door.
He's straight up not having a good time.
You switch. At this point, I don't think you stay on the Genji. Also, Striker's just getting hard-pocketed too. I mean, you might as well, to be fair. No one's doing anything on the top side, or at least touching you. I mean, what do you switch to here, though? Do you go Doomfist? I don't think so. You got Tracer to deal with. You've also got Holt, Rock, and Immortality Field. But you can uppercut people out of Immortality Field and kill them. But actually getting to that situation where you can do that, pretty impossible.
Well, they're trying to go around the backside now. You just saw a couple of sneakers going around there, but I think San Francisco feels something's up. Like they don't see the numbers that they need up front, so they know that someone's sneaking around back.
That's a perfectly timed sights actually to help Striker stay alive. Was in a 1v1 duel with Exi. He's still in that door. Look at this. Oh, what? He's stuck there. Are you serious? Oh my god. Actually didn't know what hit him. That was straight on the face as well. Just get resurrected though in the end, but still delaying a whole bunch of time. Oh man. Ooh, that was nasty.
That'll turn it around.
No resurrection for the shock. That's a very nice turnaround. Damage boosted, deflect straight to the dome. Now the nano boost is here. There's the blade. Come on, Sparkle, let's do it. He finds one. He managed to get double dash actually onto Choi as well. Can he get to the backline? Yes, he can. Of course he can, but it did cost them 2 ults, and Shock might be able to recontest this point as well.
I mean, there does come a point in the game as well where you're not playing against the team, you're playing against the clock. So San Francisco is definitely going to come out here and fight this one again as they come around the corner. They're going to have Supercharger, and Choi Hyobin is a really good Sigma. They might get grabbing here. San Francisco was able to hold that without using a ton of ults. Paris had to invest just to get halfway through.
Uh-oh. Wait,
well, that's not as good as the previous one.
What are you... Oh my god. We just had the sickest stick ever, and then he just sticks the stairs. Alright, Striker, calm down, bro, okay? Your adrenaline pumping. Speaking of adrenaline, oh dear, Choi landed himself on the back line with a nice couple of kills. 1 minute remains for Eternal. This has been the highs and lows of Overwatch, I can tell you that right now, Hex. This is definitely one for the highlights, whether they're good or bad. Striker still is causing a menace in the back line. No one's paying attention to him. Well, there you go. Sparkle lends himself a dash, but it does feel like they're going to have to build 2 ults to actually push this point, Hex. That blade and the nano boost, and Fielder's nowhere near it. A flux onto the monkey eye in the sky, discorded as well, instantly killed off, and now Choi controls the blue box.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to control this top because now there's nothing to knock them off, and I think it's way too late to even try to, well, maybe you get another Nano Blade in. It's the only thing that's worked for them so far, and it's really going to count on Fielder here. Sparkle should be able to get a Blade, and you kind of just want your tanks to be alive to take damage so you can farm this Nano. 65%, yeah, he gets there, but it's going to be last second.
That was actually a really nice hole. It actually delayed about 5 or so seconds, so they're going to have to put pedal to metal now. 5% away from the Blade, 20% away from the Nano. Everybody's taking a boatload of damage, so he should be able to get it in time. FT God activates the ult to try and survive this oncoming damage. XC's Bob doesn't have gotten taken down. They're waiting for the Nano. There it is. Nano Blade available, but Strikers in the back. He's going to be able to get Fielder. No, he just misses it, and the Nano goes out as well. Can Sparkle get anything? Immortality Fielder's down, and he doesn't use Blade at all because he was deflecting. Oh, it's disaster. They also use the Transcendence Immortality Field. They know that was the only ult that Paris had in their bank to try and force it on to first. That is going to be it. Fastest time in history for the Shock on Gibraltar. A 2-0 already, Hex. This feels like a very quick day.
45-6 eliminations in favor of the San Francisco Shock. That's how that match went. Pretty much every elimination that Paris got, you saw on screen. That was it. I mean, when you have Striker playing at this level, when you have Ons playing at this level, the tank line is sick. Now you've got the support line. I mean, San Francisco, when you started this year, people were like, I think San Francisco Shock's overrated. Look how they played this team close. Look how they played that team close. They're the champions until someone takes that belt. And I think that they are very comfortable wearing that belt right now. And there was a lot of talk about Paris being this upstart team. They've looked really good. Oh, they've got Exy, they've got Sparkle. These guys are Rookie of the Year candidates. San Francisco doesn't care. I mean, my goodness, what a shellacking.
They added Twilight as well. Like, my brain cannot comprehend how good this team is. It's just absurd how much talent they have on the roster, and it's kind of proving it right now. It's nice to see Twilight perfectly integrated into the roster already. We're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Can Paris Eternal come back? There's a lot of fans rooting for them. We'll have to wait and see after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. welcome one and all to our game break presented by Cheese It Grooves. Zoe here, joining me are Costa and Reinforce, and this is not the match promised. I'm actually I'm happy for the Shock. They are looking completely dominant, but I really wanted to see more from the Paris Eternal. Let's break it down. Let's discuss the match at hand. Starting with the first map, which was over in the blink of an eye. And it was, in fact, Twilight who just started dominating and fragging out on Baptiste.
Yeah, and who would have thought, right, after we were praising Violet's Baptiste play in the May Melee tournament, and now you plug in Twilight, right, and it's just complete domination from the San Francisco Shock. Literally in every aspect they were superior to the Paris Eternal. And yeah, Paris Eternal, obviously, they weren't playing mirror composition, so it's hard to really, up the San Francisco's performance. But the only real sign of life we saw from Paris were when they were playing the anti-double shield composition on maps that it actually worked, such as City Center. But then when San Francisco Shock were just able to play their own game, and even Gibraltar, they were just so dominant with Twilight in the lineup.
Yeah, I want to use a Meat Sports reference here. This kind of feels like the Golden State Warriors when Kevin Durant went to them, and it's like Twilight just joins this team and you're like, well, this team was already the best. And then you watch this match and you're like, well, this just doesn't seem fair anymore. Like, they are so dominant. And on top of that, we're in double hit scan. We have Striker on Tracer, who in the past has been the best Tracer in the world. And we have Arns, who is probably the best mechanical player we have on hit scan in the game. How do you win? My mind's like, I'm watching this match and I'm like, man, Paris, what are you doing? And then I look at Shock and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fair. It's just hard to really kind of love
You made a basketball reference. I'm very
Sports ball.
proud. Yeah,
Sports
literally just Googled it. Feeling very accomplished today. Unlike the Paris Eternal, I assume, we had a lot higher expectations based on previous performances. What do you guys think they're actually steering away from playing double shield?
I just don't think they can match up. I think they probably came into this match and they're saying to themselves, I don't think we can win. If we play the double shield, we play the Ash Trace or the Widow Trace, I think it's a very realistic thing that a lot of teams are going through against the San Francisco Shock, where it's like, I think it's unrealistic to come into this match, try and mirror them, and then get the win. They only just had Exi come back. He doesn't look like he's back in the form that we saw earlier in the season. So I think they're just struggling, and then Shock's just setting this ridiculously high wall that they're trying to jump over.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to go back to last week when the Paris Eternal were playing the Boston Uprising, and I was like, I wanted to give this a name when the Paris Eternal will swap to all of these different compositions. And I maybe like Element Mystic Syndrome or something, where you try to go counter meta. You're not the best Goats team, so you want to counter Goats, and now we see Sparkle on the Genji, and it's just like Element Mystic all over again. And they were successful. But Paris not looking too good so far, trying to play these niche compositions.
And that plays well into our crunch time presented by Cheese It Grooves. Costa, take it away.
Okay, Paris, it's time to get crunchy, okay? So I understand that this is the uphill battle that we've highlighted so far, but I want to see better looks from them. They're playing the Genji, they're playing the Ana, and it just doesn't feel like they're coordinating well and executing dives. We saw in the very last fight of Gibraltar, we had Exi throws in the bob that hits a wall and just instantly dies. And then we get the nano before the blade is available on Sparkle, and he never gets the blade off. It just feels like the coordination and the cohesion isn't there. Shock is putting on the pressure, but you need to be better than this. We expect you to be better than this. We gave you the benefit of the doubt when you guys went, only map 5 against Boston twice. We were like, Boston's better, but if they don't start picking it up and we don't see better performances, I'm going to start questioning whether or not this Paris Eternal team is as good as we think they are.
Yeah, and this is also what we warned about when Sparkle was picked up to this lineup. I was doing rigorous research and came to the conclusion pretty fast that Sparkle's hero pool is quite limited in some cases, and he likes playing that Doomfist, he likes playing the Genji, the Pharah, etc. And the Mei was pretty disappointing, but now with Sparkle in the lineup, they're sort of forced to play around him and build these compositions around Genji or whatever they want to play, and it's not looking too good when you go up against the San Francisco Shock. I think that could work if you're playing around the Nano Genji blade against maybe some lower teams in the league where you can just execute those blades. But against the San Francisco Shock, it's so hard to make it work. So pretty disappointing series. Honestly, like we expected more from the Paris Eternal, but you know, moving forward, if we want to see the Paris Eternal be a threat in the Summer Showdown, we need to see them make Sparkle work in the lineup. So, you know, it's time to pay attention in second half.
Yeah, I just hope that the second half will look a little different, maybe get a little closer. But the San Francisco Shock are certainly on the mission. They're trying to get that sweep, have the all-time record of the only team, the only franchise in the Overwatch League history to actually sweep every single team in the league. And they're well on their way with just one map to go, and that is going to be Blizzard World. Let's see if they can get it done. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Faire des paris externels qui ont gratté quelques pourcentages. Et encore une fois, la Nanoblade qui est partie. La superbe grenade de Fielder également. Fielder, il est au four et au moulin. Et Spark. Extraordinaire, malheureusement. Nico qui va tomber en plein dedans.
Welcome back. This is the Shock speedrunning their series currently against the Paris Eternal, a new fastest time on Gibraltar with 4 minutes and 29 seconds remaining. It felt so good, I can imagine, for Shock fans out there. And I know Andy Miller was also pretty happy with this new acquisition of Twilight on Twitter as well. I can expect us paying dividends.
Yeah, I mean, this San Francisco Shock team, what I really like about them, and I mention this all the time when I cast Shock, is that it's not good enough for them to be the best. They always want to widen the gap. They always want to get better. Like, they can be the best team in the league and be like, well, how do we improve? How do we make ourselves even that much more dominant?
It's just ridiculous. How can they, Hex, at this point? If they picked up someone else, that I'm like, well, now it's just maybe the talent is wasted. Are you going to rotate them in? I'm not entirely sure, because they almost have an A team and a B team at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, these are the 3 guys on the bench right now for the Shock. Rascal, White as an early MVP candidate. Super, one of the best Reinhardts we've ever seen. And Moth, one of the best supports we have in the entire league. Those guys are riding the Pine right now. Not to be confused with the Pine, but you know what I mean. Like, those guys are on the bench for this team. You can't really overstate how well built this roster is, and the moves they make are just so intelligent. I mean, Architect probably wasn't going to see a ton of play, so they move him over, make him happier, they make an acquisition in Twilight, and this team right now, I mean, based on what we've seen just today in this small little vacuum, looks unbeatable. They look unbeatable.
Yeah, it does. I'd be pretty nervous as I was Sparkle facing up against the Shock, and in fact, we got a couple of words from him to describe how he was feeling coming into today.
쇼커 같은 경우는 이제 저번 시즌 우승팀이기도 하고 매우 강하다는 평가를 받고 있는 팀이기 때문에 이제 저번 경기와는 다르게 매우 힘든 경기를 예상하고 있는데요. 일단은 남은 시간 동안 열심히 해가지고 이제 경기에 최선을 다하도록 하겠습니다. 매우 떨리네요. 쇼크랑.
So a little bit of nerves from Sparkle, and I'm not sure it's entirely showing. It's just, I think, Shock kind of dominating right now. And I did mention Andy Miller, of course, a little bit earlier on. Let's have a look at what he tweeted earlier. Well, not even earlier. It was like 5 minutes ago. The games are over that quickly, right? I mean,
technically earlier.
He's pretty happy with the Twilight acquisition. I would be as well at this point. No one can touch Twilight and Violet in the backline, not even an Nanobating Genji.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't spoken to some of the ownership and the higher-ups in the San Francisco Shock organization. They always just had this grand plan of like, yeah, Season 1 we're going to struggle a little bit, but that's fine. Just wait till Season 2 when like we start getting these guys in and coming of age, and then we can build around, and then we can figure out what we're going to do. And they've made another transition from Season 2 to Season 3. Like, a lot of these players on the current roster were definitely not on Season 1, and then, you know, not even playing a ton in Season 2, and now it's a brand new Shock in Season 3. And again, defending champions. They could rest on their laurels. They could just leave everything the same, but that is not how this organization operates. It's not how this team operates. And you see the product on the field kind of represents that. They just want to dominate people and get better and better. And right now, I think that the gap between San Francisco and everybody else is just continues to widen. But, you know, there's still some teams out there that I think could challenge them. I'd love to see San Francisco versus Philadelphia. As it stands, though, the Paris Eternal have been knocked down a peg in my eyes, and I was a big fan of Paris Eternal throughout the year. Let's see if San Francisco can complete the journey of sweeping every team in the league as we enter into Blizzard World, Jack.
Yeah, we got a small substitution as well for the Paris Eternal. We've got Ben Best coming in. Snow Smite is just going to sit out for this one. We'll see if Ben Best is in for the rest of the series. If this goes any more maps, of course. It will be Shock on the attack first, and then Paris Eternal on the defense. So swapping in Ben Best, what do you feel about this? Well, how are they going to actually run against Shock right now? It's going to be Smurf on the Reinhardt. Well, it looks like to be on the offense at least. They have Ben Best with Hanbin on the double shield.
Yeah, I'd imagine Ben Best was coming in to play Reinhardt. That makes a ton of sense. So there's going to be a Reinhardt Sigma on the defense. Yeah, and I think the Reinhardt makes a lot of sense if you want to play kind of an aggressive defense too. You just kind of hold the corners and then let FD God move in on the opposing team if the other team wants to try to run something slow like an Orisa. We'll see what San Francisco actually rolls out of spawn with, but tragically enough, Sparkle is he's on the May. It is May Day for Sparkle.
We did have some questions about Sparkle's May.
It didn't look good. I don't have any questions about it. There's no questions. It didn't look good.
No questions asked. Oh, the TP snipe. Oh, I love the TP snipe. TP Arns up onto the little bit of high ground there. Actually, it's going to be on the Kree. I mean, you stick Arns on this Widowmaker permanently because no one can really touch him in the backline. XC is going to be able to take pot shots, and same with Sparkle, but he's going to be more than safe up against his double shield. Early hold here from the Eternal, but they have to rotate now as Striker is on the point, attempting to go for a back.
They bait the wall out really early too, and the wall doesn't even cover their entry. The tanks are able to squeeze through on the right side, so it effectively does nothing. Now San Francisco just taking it slow. I mean, if you're going to play Reinhardt,
Widowmaker up, to be fair.
I mean, if you're going to play Reinhardt against this, you need to wall off people and then push into them against the wall. The walls haven't been great, and Paris has not played aggressively on this defense like I thought they would. That's a nice pick, though.
Yeah, that was kind of a horrible angle for Sparkle to be out there. Couldn't really get the freeze, although he has to go through double shields, of course. Whoa! Over and oh my word! Just pulled him straight over. XE on the flank. Oh, Arns knows. Oh, he knows. But it doesn't matter. The flashbang will catch him. And Twilight goes down as well. XE's on the flank. He's managed to kill a couple of people. Make that a third with the Smurf also going down. Good little hold to start off with for the Eternal.
Yeah, it's a good wall late. It took a really long time for San Francisco to get in the position they wanted, and Paris just makes a really nice play on the flank. Lucio Uber service coming back here. Get XE back in the mix. I mean, you're not going to win a fight without XE, if anything. The last fight told us anything.
He's on the flank. Yeah, but Arns has changed over to Ash now, so he's going to be a little better off. Nice rotation to high ground, because they do have High Noon. And Fluxy. Speaking of that, there it is. There's the High Noon up in the skies. Transcendence doesn't do all too much against High Noon, but at least it saves Violet to make sure everybody's alive and well during the Flux damage. There's a Flux with Fielder right up into the skybox, and Arns just easily takes him out. However, the tanks are able to just corral on the front line. Immortality Field is completely just negated by the Paris Eternal. They just push straight into it. One of the better ways to get rid of the Immortality Field is just to push right on past it and force everybody outside of it. 1 minute and 30 seconds now for the Shock on the offense.
Yeah, the Dead Sky combo didn't really get a whole lot done there, which is usually just kind of a fight-winning combination. But I mean, the stakes for this now are San Francisco are trying to sweep every team. It's not enough just to beat Paris. They're trying to sweep all 19 teams in the Overwatch League. So far, have gotten no pressure on the point, only a few kills for them. I think this is Pulse Bomb time. Striker needs to come up big here and hit a Pulse Bomb. He's got some good targets. FD, God, and Fielder would be ideal.
Still pretty hard to stick a Lucio, though, mind you. Supercharger goes down for Smurf. Oh, there's the ult. That's a perfect stick! FD God straight in the back. The Blizzard is going to separate a lot of people, but Arns and Smurf are still able to stay alive. And now they're going to be able to get onto the point. Yeah, Sparkle, after Ice Block and Wall, there's nothing that saves you from Striker hunting you down. The perfect stick, and I said, just right then, Hex. It's pretty hard to stick a Lucio as Striker then sticks the Lucio.
Yeah, reverse curse. You blessed him. It's the caster blessing. You don't see those too often.
Never. I think that was the first ever time that's happened, I'm going to be honest.
All right, XE goes to the Widow, maybe anticipating a switch from Ons. The second point is much better for Widow than the first here.
Nice angle. Although I gotta say, Arns has to switch here, right? Like, uses Bob, then switches the Widow to match XE. Range advantage, of course, for XE on the Widowmaker.
Or you just
trust... They don't have too much frontline damage, though.
Yeah, you could just trust Striker to be able to deal with the Widow on his own, but this is an aggressive move from Paris. They're gonna get bobbed on.
Yeah. A Window doing all of nothing. Fire strikes will hurt, but they can actually get one off. There's the Pulse Bomb, stuck. Hanbin, but can they actually finish off the kill? FD God and Benbest go so low in the front line. You see Hanbin had to use so much there to keep himself alive in the fight, and the rest of his team were just rolled over by Smurf. It's almost perfect for Striker there. He doesn't really need to be peppering the shields at all. If he can just distract a tank or a support, it just opens up so much space for the Shock to march on forwards.
Just being able to take somebody out of the fight, that doesn't necessarily always mean an elimination or sending them back to spawn, but taking out that shield, taking him completely out of the fight. He took a little body shot and didn't even look over. Cool guys don't look at Widow shots, apparently. Paris is going to be able to come back up top. Flux grabs a couple, but Transcendence is there.
And the pin too. Ooh. Yeah, the Transcendence didn't quite reach the high ground. Choyobin was ever so slightly out of LOS, plus the instant pin damage as well helped secure the kill. Good little start for, again, the Paris' defense here. Again, Shock landed themselves in a 1 minute and 30-second time bank remaining. Violet is going to get jumped on. Immortality Field's going to save him. He is going to get taken out, and they still can't really take care of him. Sparkle eventually finds the kill, but hang on a second here. Striker's in the back line. Oh, Fielder's going to be there. And the Widowmaker as well. XE jumps straight on him, but meanwhile, speaking of Striker, distracts the team again, and Twilight is able to pick up two. Nice headshot onto him, but the rest of Xy's team are dead, and he's going to follow them all the way back to spawn as well. Striker once again, Hex, carrying this fight, just being a distracting tool.
Yeah, he's back there. Fielder has to go deal with him because no one else is able to get back there on time, and then Fielder takes a bunch of damage, and there's no one up in the front line. I mean, that's your main heals right there. You're expecting the Baptiste to just be throwing in everything. Immortality field, the burst, and everything that you need. He's unable to do it because Striker gets almost a back cap, and that's it. San Francisco's going to get 2 more minutes on their clock.
They noticed Paris Eternal were attempting to advance onto the cart. They use the Supercharger and take out Exy. They do manage to trade, but they can still play aggressive here with Ben Best Shatter. A nice icicle to the head. Striker ends up fighting the dust. And Ben Best slamming Choi Urban as well. Holding on the corner once more. It's been a slow and rather struggling fight for the Paris Eternal, but the Shatter will guarantee them at least this team fight win to start off with. I say that as Striker still paying a distraction. This fight is so messy. Sparkle finds yet another kill. An instant headshot onto Striker. Spawn advantage though for the shot. As a B even comes through. Even the Blizzard. This fight is still going, Hex. They managed to Blizzard one person off here on the side. Choi Obin spawns and then runs into his death once again. But it doesn't look like Shock are able to stabilize here with Ben Best no way near his team. Distracted on the sidelines. FT God sent to the skies, instantly taken care of with Arns' Widowmaker, and they'll get the payload rolling once again.
It was just a matter of time before Ben Best went down. He was completely isolated on the right side. San Francisco just took all of the support away from him. Striker takes him down in the back end. San Francisco looking to push as you hear 60 seconds remain on the clock. Both support ultimates available. Paris a long way from that. And they would love support ultimates because Choi Hoban about to hit this flux. Paris in a tough spot right now.
Can Striker do the same thing again to distract the back line? A little bit harder in this position, of course, as there's not too much space to move. That's a beautiful headshot onto Spark. We didn't quite see where the Midwaker was coming from. Immortality field, well, they didn't touch. Okay, I thought someone was going to touch there. Apparently not. Arns takes care of 3, and that will be the San Francisco Shock. Clutching it out, taking 3 points themselves, and netting them a bit of time in the time bank too.
It was so close to being a nice hold on first, but that pulse bomb that was really the only tool that San Francisco Shock had.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm.
Your advantage as a Reinhardt versus Orisa is that you're mobile and you can just swing through the shield. Didn't happen because Lucio went down, the speed's not there, San Francisco's able to roll it over, and Striker is reminding people, like, yeah, there's a lot of great tracers over in APAC. Some people thought Prophet was washed. No, Prophet's just clean. And Striker is still one of the best tracers to watch in the world. I mean, I'm just going to pitch that we need Tracer v Tracer for All-Stars or something along these lines because I need to see it. I need to see it.
Oh, he's hopping over to the May. Oh, please.
Go back on Tracer.
Your voice says it all there, buddy.
Please. No, he's resetting. He's resetting. He's going to Tracer. It's a long walk back, in fact. In fact, 10 seconds. He has to go onto a fast hero. Surely. Yes, he's going Tracer. Oh my god, he is so intelligent. The grand debate from Striker.
Yeah.
Throwing himself off the map as May and then switching over to Tracer.
He just wanted to cool the waters, man. He's doing his part for global warming.
That's very generous of it. It's like the Futurama episode where they drop the ice cubes into the ocean, but they have to do it a little bit more often as it just takes more and more ice each time, and then they have to go tell his comment. Anyway, enough of Futurama lore. I really like Futurama. I'm sad it ended. Sparkle is going to change over to the May. We've got Fielder on the Baptiste. They know Striker's playing Tracer at this point. They can hold tab after 15 seconds. You can see what they're running.
Yeah, this is all just about trying to get in as fast as you can with the Reinhardt getting your positioning here. You can almost forego trying to push up, but they're going to try to take away high ground. Again, it's all about the Reinhardt and Lucio combinations here. Bye, Lucio!
Oh man, FT Gordon not having a good time this map. We got stuck by Striker. Holton hooked. X is going to go down as well. Still determined to fight. They know they have the wall to fight with. That's a lot of damage onto Smurf. They do manage to wall him off through all the healing plus the shift as well. Smurf did end up going down. Long walk and a treacherous one at that. Back. FT God goes down once again. Okay, he's not having a good time whatsoever. Violet takes 2 with him. The Shock off to a very good start on their defense, regardless of Smurf going down.
Yeah, Violet's just a nutter. He always has been on the Zenyatta. We haven't seen a ton of him on the Zen this year, but able to play it. Xe is doing his best to carry this squad, both on their offense, now on the defense. He will be taken out. This one's turned into a bit of a scrap fight here. Only 3 left for Paris as they try to posture up on this left-hand side. They might have to wait for reinforcements here. I think the Shock are going to be in better fighting form.
Oh no, he's okay. He pogoed off Smurf's head. We're good. Oh my god, I got so... And he's dead again!
Twilight's got the window.
The window, yeah. Oh man, FD God, rough game, but to be fair, Twilight is just on an absolute tear. Xe does manage to take out Arns, but little to no avail really. Shock are being able to get back in time. Jesus, imagine this is like, we brought Twilight onto the roster. Well, Hex, you know what, we're going to play him today, see how well he does, and then he puts this.
So a couple weeks ago I did In My Sights on Violet's Baptiste. You could make the case that San Francisco has the 2 best Baptiste players in the world. You could make that case right now, based on the small sample I've seen from Twilight today.
That sucked. They were trying to get the High Noon and their Flux combo off, but they didn't manage to get anybody. There's the Blizzard in the front line, but Striker's still being a pain in the bum in the backside. There will be a Transcendence to try and save them as Striker manages to take out Ben Best after the Pulse Bomb did land on the back of his head, and now Fielder is left all alone versus the Tracer. The tracking is too good from Striker though, and manages to take him out. Violet does end up falling, but there's still 2 tanks on the point for Shock. 51% has been claimed, but the Eternal now have 1 minute to capture this first point. Otherwise, this will be Shock clean sweeping them, Hex.
And Ben Best just hasn't been able to get there on the Shatter, and that's kind of your win condition that you're looking for. 60 seconds remain. That's enough for one good fight, maybe a scuffed fight after that. Support ultimate's coming online for Paris, but trying to hit a window and get the angle that you need from Fielder as the San Francisco Shock are holding the far back high ground, really rough. You might want to try to wrap around and take care of Ans here.
Well, they've only got window up. Oh my god! Ans sitting... Cheeky flank from Arns. Not even a flank, really. He's just at a different angle. Xe's going to get taken down as well. Hex, I think this is just it. It's going to be all over. FD God's the last support alive on the point. He has beat, but he's just going to feed himself to the fishes. Someone may be able to touch. They've claimed 2 ticks, but Shock have a whole hog, a window, plus the Pulse Bomb available to them as well. 15 seconds now remains. I think this is it. No one's going to be able to touch. People holding up so far as well. 10 seconds, please. Someone from Eternal touch, otherwise this is going to be Shock with a clean sweep of every team in the league. Bembes just managed to get back to the point in time, and the stick lands perfectly on the back. The beat comes through to try and save them. A lot of people lift high in the sky as Arns and Violet go down. This could be it, in fact. Eternal managing to come back. Striker is still alive, but he's blown his recall. Can he get anything more done? The rock was dodged, but FD God finds his revenge on Smurf, and miracles do happen, and Paris managed to capture the first point.
They're going to need a lot more than that for Paris, but they do finally come back. It looked all over, but the stick that did hit, I don't think ended up taking anybody actually out during that fight. Xe versus Ans on the Widow now. Ans' Widow just looks so crisp today. He's making Sparkle's life, well, a living hell, to be honest. Whether it's on Genji or on Mei, he's just kind of isolating Sparkle. And as good as Sparkle's debut was, it has been a match to forget thus far for him.
Can you blame him, though? He's going up against Arns on Widow. Sparkle's like, I'm just going to walk over here and get my head clicked.
And beyond that, Striker's taking out opposing Widows like pretty easily, pretty consistently.
Well, while we were talking about that, Ben Best did leap in front of the shield, hit the shatter, but Smurf was golden at the time. Striker takes 2 with him as well. A familiar situation for the Shock currently. 1 minute and 25 seconds remains for Paris. This has been a rather hard-fought Blizzard world. They are able to hold on this corner, but look at the ults. The ultimate economy, Hex, we haven't even touched on that at all. It's just been so stellar for the Shock. Look how many ults they got coming into the next fight against a Blizzard. Potentially the window as well for Fielder.
Well, San Francisco's been winning fights without using ultimates. They're getting picks from Striker early, and Ans is taking out the Mei. And a lot of the times, San Francisco's just winning the fight so that Paris can't even get their ultimates up.
Well, there's the Blizzard. He saw Smurf go golden. Transcendence is going to help save him. And Smurf's in the back line. What was that shot, Xe? Oh my word, I need a replay of that one, please. Striker ends up going down to the back. Joy does whole hog the wall. Sparkle's been good at hitting the heads with the right clicks. They do manage to win the fight off the back of Sparkle's ultimates. And they are able to just push the payload, but Hex, 30 seconds remains, and Shock have a beautiful spawn point.
They definitely can come back and fight this again. You're only halfway around the pylon terrace, and Smurf is going to be able to come out and set the anchor as the anchor tank at Orisa. On's going to be able to take high ground here, and Twilight's got the window. That's a huge opening pick. Huge open.
Yeah, they've got to be careful now. Arns has priority on the Widowmaker. The winner's going to come out as well. There's the beat from FD God. I didn't get anything. In fact, maybe it got interrupted. I don't see any overshields at all. FD God now without ult. And Paris Eternal fighting for their lives on the point. They managed to hold Arns down and take him out, but can they do anything more? Bembes also ends up falling down. OT's ticking through. Someone has to touch. They managed to get back to the point in time as Exi is able to rain havoc as Twilight ends up falling. He has his sights available too as Sparkle takes down Striker once more with a headshot. They eventually manage to take control of the point and net the payload in. This Blizzard world is such a struggle. Every single last fight is decided in OT as the point gets capped. Oh my word, this is one of the closest Blizzard worlds I think we've seen in a long time.
That death is actually on Choi Hyobin there. Twilight going down there. Choi Hyobin rolls out. He's like, I got a shield. He's just singing a song in his head. And Twilight tries to come out and follow him, but the shield's not up for him, so he gets picked off right out of spawn. A minute left on the clock. There's probably 2 fights that Paris has to win. They're performing best when it's back against the wall here. And now their ult economy is not in terrible shape anymore.
Oh, if Arns hit that shot, I think I'm going to throw my headset on the ground, I'm going to be honest. And I would have done as well if I was someone that got a headshot there with that angle. Window is going to get used on the corner. They're going to just kind of walk past it. They have to. That was a beautiful shot past the shields. My word, this field day for Arns and Exi alike. It's good to see 2 Widowmakers face off on each other. Well, I mean, Striker... Okay, he had recall. I was very worried there. I was watching his silhouette kind of dive into the front line. 30 seconds remains once more. Sparkle does have the Blizzard available, and they have Shatter to match it as well. Striker's nearing this pulse bomb. One good stick could end it all. He spots someone in the back line. It's going to be Exi. Arns managed to take out FD Gold once again, and Sparkle ends up going down to a right click. He's just forced the Widow out completely. Oh, the seabag! Oh, that's what you love to see. The pure disrespect from Striker. And now OT is here. They're able to contest the point for the time being, and Bembes even got the shadow, but it's interrupted. Twilight was able to take him out. OT ticks through, and there it is. The Shock, with a 3-0 sweep, have now swept every single team in the Overwatch League. What a record to hold.
Fire up the Broom Factory. It didn't look as clean as it did on the first 2 maps here on Blizzard World, but that can just happen sometimes. A little respect between our snipers here as Ons and Exi will exchange niceties. And the San Francisco Shock team, I mean, I guess they look beatable there, but part of me wants to wonder how much that's just hubris, because they were only losing last fight, so they're getting like so close to like, oh yeah, I'll just do this and I'll play a little bit out of the ordinary. They kind of lost their fundamental play towards the end of those fights, but they got it back there. And when Striker was signed to this team, I'm like, oh, he'll fit right in. I mean, he's just the swagger of that to be able to, like... I mean, he started off the game doing some power squats really early on our very first map, and yeah, he finishes the map the same way. And if you're playing Widow, to have a Tracer always being on the other Widow, it's such a relief, and it just allowed Ons to focus on Sparkle, hit so many headshots. I mean, this team is... I mean, they're just stacked. They're stacked. They have swept every single team in the Overwatch League.
Just ridiculous. I think it's only going to get better, it seems like, for the Shock coming in the next coming weeks. I mean, you always talk about synergy with a new team for someone like Twilight to come into the roster, and you're like, well, maybe it takes a couple of weeks to warm up, maybe in officials. Of course, they've definitely been scrimming hard, that is for sure, but I didn't think we'd see a performance like this. Twilight in isolation is just a fantastic player, but proving that on a brand new team today, I'm a little bit shocked, but I probably shouldn't be, Hex.
Now, I mean, we all know what Twilight's capable of. I'm just like, I was not necessarily expecting the BAP and Zen meta, and it's just so much damage that they're able to put out. It was some ridiculous play. And again, this team has 3 All-Stars on the bench. I think 2 Role Stars. I think both Moth and Super are Role Stars. That's their bench right now. Like, it's just filthy, and it allows them to adapt to all sorts of metas. They have extremely adaptable DPS players. Rascal is the Swiss Army knife of the Overwatch League, can play absolutely everything. Rascal was playing BAP for this team last year. Now they have like 3 of the top 10 Baptiste players in the league. I mean, right now it's kind of just ill.
Well, Surprise, surprise, Hex. Who's the player of the match going to be? It's Twilight, of course. Your player of the match presented by Xfinity. From strength to strength, it feels like he was, of course, on the Titans last year and obviously earlier on the season as well. And now going on to another team of just absolute champions. We're definitely a championship caliber roster, and Twilight added to it it's just unstoppable. Let's use the Scrabble bag analogy again. They've got every single vowel out of the Scrabble bag. It's sitting right in front of them, and you're left with just the worst letters, right? Q, Z, and all the high point numbers that you're never going to get a word out of. It just seems unstoppable. Twilight, his Baptiste was clean, and I'm looking forward to him playing Ana as well later on in the season. Or at least I hope we see a little.
Yeah, I think he was in Final 5 last year for MVP considerations. I don't remember. There were 5 players. I think Super was in there as well. I mean, there's so many players on the San Francisco team who have won accolades already in the Overwatch League and in other tournament structures. But yeah, I think he set the tone early on of what we were going to see on Busan. He nails that 4K with the window. His damage is clean, but he's also hitting immortality fields when he has to, trying to save people. Like, he's doing everything you have to on the Baptiste, but then also just switches into that mode. And this is what I loved about Violet's Baptiste, is that he had all his fundamentals, all his ducks in a row, but then when everything was already set, he just switches on the mode of DPS and goes after it. And yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say about the San Francisco Shock. I truly believe you can make the argument they have the 2 best Baptiste players in the world on this roster, and they're both playing at the same time. It is unfair. It's ridiculous. Congratulations to them on a remarkable milestone to have swept 19 teams in the Overwatch League.
It is actually absurd. I can't wait to see them later on in this season. Of course, this is week number 2 of the Summer Showdown qualifiers as well. So, Shock looking pretty good. I think they're going to place high in the seedings. You know, shoot me if I'm wrong. But hey, I don't say anything different. Right, Shock have now obviously acquired that accolade. Are they going to find any more? Probably, I can imagine. They're going to come up with some ridiculous stats. Of course, they did also beat the fastest Gibraltar today by 10 seconds.
That's right, they also set a record.
Yeah, it's like records just everywhere. Like, what more can you say, really? Of course, we have got the Atlanta Reign facing up against the Toronto Defiant in a little bit. Toronto Defiant, Hex, that have been struggling, regardless of the new people they have had added to their roster. Of course, Cruz coming in, and Mr. Seb Barton himself as well, Numlocked, is going to come in today as well.
I mean, like, I want to go back to San Francisco, too, because, like, they always just strive for dominance. Tomorrow is going to be an interesting game, though, because San Francisco plays against the Washington Justice. Well, you would just expect San Francisco to win. Washington Justice, though, has some of Twilight's old teammates on it, too. I'm sure they're friends, but most of the Overwatch League players I talk to say, like, yeah, I don't want to beat my enemies, I want to beat my friends. It actually is more valuable for them to beat their friends, because it's nice, but you still want to be the best of that team, and I think given the supporting cast around him, I would expect that Twilight is able to beat his old buddies who are going to be on the Washington Justice. Of course, they're trying to retool as well. But San Francisco, I mean, I love the mentality of this team. They dominate. They go after it. We have an interview lined up. It is going to be Zoe with Choi Hyobin.
Thank you guys so much, and welcome to the show, Choi Hyobin.
Hello.
So first of all, of course, congratulations. You guys set a record in time on your attack on Gibraltar. You also set the record for the only team sweeping every other team in the league. Do these records mean anything to you, or are you just playing?
Just playing, I think. Yeah, just playing. I think
Just playing.
every teammate thinks like this.
Alright.
Doesn't think that, yeah, at all.
All right. Well, that's good. You just keep on the focus on the game, and I guess everything else is just a nice side effect. So that's great. Now, if we're talking about the match we just got to watch, playing against Paris Eternal, we all expected this to be a bit closer because Paris last week, they looked good. Did you expect a closer match, or did you imagine it going this way?
We watched the Boston Birds Paris, so I think they will be more. I mean, they will be more strong. Like,
yeah,
this match. So I thought it will be a hard match for me, but yeah.
But then it wasn't.
Yeah.
Why do you think they didn't go double shield? Do you think they were scared on playing mirror against you guys?
Not at all. I think, I don't know.
but we expect they will play dive because Park Genji is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we play the Orisa Hawk against that. But I don't know. I don't know about why they didn't use double shield. Yeah.
That's fair. And we get to see you playing Roadhog, which I personally really enjoy. Now, if we're heading into the Summer Showdown event, there won't be any hero pools. That means we will see different compositions. What kind of compositions do you expect to see from the teams?
Well, for me, I don't know if I can, if we can use dive comp as Genji's burp in this patch. But when I predicted meta, I never got it right, so I can expect it.
Okay, you just take it as it comes. That's fair. If you're looking at the teams, which teams do you think are going to do well in the Summer Showdown?
I was surprised that LA Valiant was better than I thought. Their DPS is really strong and has a good strategy for team. So I think they can come up again this time, I think.
All right. Well, Casa is going to be very happy to hear you say that. That's it already. Thank you so much for joining us, Joy.
Thank you.
And once again, of course, congrats to you and the team on this W. We're now heading into a very quick break, and afterwards we're back with the second match of the day. Atlanta Reign going up against the Toronto Defiant.